The little girl's feeling of freedom had been shattered. She felt sick to her stomach as she was thrown into the bamboo cage with the other girls and told to not make a sound. If she tried to escape, she would be killed on the spot and thrown in the fire. She had been captured by a group of bandits who roamed the countryside kidnapping young females. They then took them to the larger cities and sell them off as slaves to anyone who had the money. The bandits had set up a small camp and were planning their next kidnappings, which were to take place in the girls' village in the valley below. A villager who had made their way over to the well for water had heard voices as he was approaching, which he thought was unusual, so he had proceeded with caution. He hid behind a bush before coming any closer. He peered out from behind the bushes and closely observed the strangers and their camp. He didn't think much of them until he saw what they had trapped in the bamboo cage. Panicking, he quickly changed his mind about drawing water from the well and headed back down the hill to the village as quickly as possible. That night, as the rain began to fall, the little girl huddled between the others to try and stay warm. None of them dared speak as they all sat there cold, sad, and scared. The little girl wondered why life had treated her so badly. She missed her parents so much and wished them to be back in her life with all her heart. It was at that point she thought she heard someone calling her name. She slowly opened her eyes and looked into the darkness. There was someone there. As the figure slowly approached her, she tried to make out who it was. A feeling of terror overwhelmed her as her dead stepfather came into view and began to talk to her. "Don't worry, darling," he said. "This will all be over soon. They're not going to sell you off. They don't want you. I mean, they won't want you when you're dead." With this, the little girl screamed, and as her stepfather faded away, one of the bandits appeared out of the darkness and bashed his stick against the cage. "Shut up," he said. "One more word out of any of you and I'll cut your throats out." The other girls in the cage stared angrily at the little girl. She felt more miserable than ever and really did just want to die. The next morning, one of the bandits had been patiently scoping out the village and noticed that all of the villagers were congregating in the largest building right in the center. "This is perfect," he thought to himself. He went back to the camp and sat down with one of the others. They both agreed that this was going to be a great opportunity to surprise them and trap them all in one area and then kill off the men. That night, the bandits made their way down the hill to the village. And just as they were about to storm the building, the male villagers came out, all brandishing bamboo spears and all ready to fight. They had been expecting the bandits and were ready to defend themselves. One of the head villagers told them they were outnumbered and it would be in their best interest to just turn around and leave. The bandits weren't interested in leaving. They gave the villagers the option of surrender or death. The villagers had had enough. "This is your last chance to leave," they said, "or we will be forced to kill you all." "Kill us," replied the bandits. "You're not killers. We are." And with that, the last thing the villagers heard was the sound of arrows flying through the air, right before they took out each and every one of them with incredible and brutal precision. 3 of the bandits were highly skilled archers and had been hiding in the dark, lining up their shots as the others drew the villagers out and into the open. Their plan had worked perfectly. All of the male villagers were dead. And now, not only did the bandits own the village, they also owned everything in it.